What is the best lawn fertilizer you can get at Bunnings? I actually put these 7 different fertilizers into AI. Gave it all the information, a really thorough question, and the answer it gave me was wrong. And not just a little bit wrong, very wrong. And I know that because there's actually a scientific mathematical formula you can put different fertilizers through to find which one is best. Now the reason I know this is because I've actually been a pro gardener since I was 15 years old. I've been managing all sorts of facilities for the last 17 years, including schools, massive commercial facilities, and doing lots and lots of residential lawn turnarounds just like this. This is my life. And for the last few years, if you haven't seen us on the Australian Lawn and Garden podcast, we've been interviewing turf experts, stadium tours and things like that. And I'm going to try and show you all this knowledge that I've built up over years on this channel. So if you're into that, subscribe. Let's get into it. So the first thing you want to look at when you're looking at different fertilizers, the biggest mistake people make is they'll look at the different prices, they'll look at some marketing jargon like slow release or something like that, and they'll make a decision based on that. The truth is that the price of these different packets reflects very little because it's not about the amount per gram, it's about the amount of nutrients you're getting for your dollar. So let me show you, this product here is $31 for 4 kilos. This is $5 for 2.5. You think, well, maybe this might be a little bit high quality, but surely this is such a better deal. But it's actually not. When you look on the side of these packages, if you've ever gotten confused by this, hopefully that'll be no more, because what you were trying to see is how nutrient dense it is. This is 32% nitrogen. This is 9% nitrogen. Now that means that if you wanted the same amount of nitrogen applied to your lawn, you would have to apply more than 3 times of this to get the same amount of nutrients as you're getting from one application of this. This is where things start getting really interesting. The first step to find out what the best fertilizer is to have a look at the nutrients that you get from every single fertilizer that you're looking at and see which one is actually giving the most nutrients for your dollar. Not the most grams for your dollar, the most nutrients. The most important nutrient you want is nitrogen. What I've done here is I've made a scale. I said I want to get 18 grams per square meter of nitrogen because that's the most important nutrient. How much would it cost of each product for a year if I was applying these over 100 square meters? And the results are really surprising. All of a sudden, these guys that look super expensive are very, very similar. And some of the other products that looked actually somewhere in the middle, say $14 for this, looked pretty reasonable. That's now really expensive because the nutrient density is much less. First step when you're looking for any fertilizer, and you can do this for any different products you want, look at the nutrient density. If it confuses you, that's what AI is great for. Put it into ChatGPT, get it to answer a more specific question, and you're going to get a more specific response. So next thing I want to look at is not just nitrogen. You want to anchor everything to nitrogen because that's the most important thing for a lawn. In the same way that if you want to build muscle, you want to eat a lot of protein. If you want green grass, you've got to put a lot of nitrogen out. But what I want to show you is something even more interesting. Not all lawn fertilizers are the same with the nutrient values, or the value of the nutrition, I should say. When we have a look at this product here, this Hortico product, was $14. This Bailey's product is $42. When I look at the nutrient breakdown, this product here only has 4: nitrogen, potassium, sulfur, and iron. When I look at the nutrient breakdown of this, we've got nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, silicon, iron, manganese, copper, zinc, boron, molybdenum. This is a much more full fertilizer. There's a lot more going on, and you can see how much there is. Now, if this confuses you again, it's not that hard once you put it into AI. So the truth about the fertilizers, like we said, is whilst N is the most important thing, if you equalize them all, you can see the price. But what happens if you equalize all the nitrogen, so you're getting exactly the same nitrogen output? What about the other ingredients, the other nutrients? Which one is the most nutrient dense? Again, this really starts changing the look of what fertilizer is best for you. So now we've got a full nutrient comparison here. We've got our nitrogen equalized, we've got the rest of the nutrients ranked as to which one's best, and now you're getting a good picture, but still not the full picture. I want to show you some things on this desk. This product here, the cheap one before, when I put this out here, I put this out on the desk like this, you can see this is just a synthetic fertilizer. This month's product here, which looks quite expensive at the moment, you can also see though that this has got some organic matter. Same with this Bailey's product here. Now they're going to advertise all over the front all the different beneficials that they have. This guy's got BioWish technologies. I'm not going to nerd you out on too much on that, but organic nutrition, you see this too, bioactivator. Now, these are not just marketing things, there are some benefits. The main benefits are in the order that we're going with. Number one is nitrogen, number two are the other nutrients, but these other factors do play a role. So it is good to rank them. So now once we do that, we can rank those additional aspects, and now we're really starting to get a holistic picture of which one is best. One more step to go. Now the final thing is how fertilizers actually release. A lot of them are fast acting, some will say slow release, and that actually is beneficial for it to be slow release, that is. Usually what happens when you have a fertilizer is this is how it actually applies. You have your greenness or your growth and your time here. When you have a fast release like this guy here or the Brilliance or the 311, what they're going to do is they're going to give you a rapid green up very quickly, but it's going to be very short-lived, and then the color will look something like that. Now, if you're going to apply every few weeks, if you apply it again like this, that's what your lawn's going to look like. Peak of color, peak of growth, lots of growth, almost too much to manage sometimes, and then it will drop down. Slow release fertilizers, depending on how much of it is slow release or how much of it is up front, because they're usually a little bit of a mix, they might look a little bit more like this. The same nutrient breakdown might be a little bit more even. So now when I apply this here, I might get another second growth there. That stops me having a surge of growth, having way too much growth, which is hard to manage, hard to maintain, and I don't have those big troughs at the bottom where my color is not so nice anymore. Now, if you have one of these products already, one of the shorter lived ones, or you just naturally are someone who likes working on your lawn, you can actually get the same effect by just doing lots of little applications like this of those fast release products. It's not necessarily that they're better or worse, but if you are someone who's super busy, you don't want to apply that much, you should definitely be looking more for something that has a slow release name on it than something that's fast release. So now what happens if we put that into the graph? I think you start to see the picture that we're actually looking at this really holistically. This is not going off marketing, this is not going off jargon, we're looking at the nutrients, we're looking at the price for the nutrients, the whole picture of the nutrients, what are the beneficial additives they've put into that fertilizer, and then how it releases to match how you do your lawn care at home. Now, what are the results? So I've put these all together now in a chart. I'm summarizing them with two different aspects. The first is, if you don't care about the slow release at all, you're somebody who's just going to apply it regularly, and your number one focus is price point, because usually slow release is a little bit more expensive, this is what you should go. The winner of this test, and now you can go through this process with your own AI or with your own calculator and work out the options that you have available. So the second thing is, if you put the slow release in, you can start to see Perfect Energy is still the best. It's not as long lasting as maybe the Scots or the Munns would be, but because of those other benefits and the price point, it's still at number one. But Scots kicks up right there, at least with these ones. And you see Munns jumping up and a few others in that sort of third category, fairly similar now. I hope this is helping you get a little bit more of a scientific, more educated approach to how you're going to fertilize your property from now on. Now, some keen-eye viewers, you'll see on this camera here, a big Bailey's sign at the back, and you go, are you sponsored by Bailey's? And yes, we are. We've talked about this on the podcast if you watched this before, but I didn't want to go through this process and just say, this is my favorite fertilizer at Bunnings, trust me. I want to help you decide for yourself which is best for the options that you have. And the truth is, I don't need to shove this down your throat because this is actually not available in the whole country. I want you to use this process when you're making your decision, whether you're going to a local nursery, whether you're going to your online store or a lawn supplier. You can use this process to find the best one for you. I just find consistently the Bailey's products are right at the top. You can test that for yourself, find out for yourself. We have a whole bunch of new content coming out on all these kinds of deep dive, strategic ways of thinking about lawn and gardens from my experience maintaining all these different sites that I've done over the years. If you like that, again, you should subscribe. If you have any questions that you want me to answer and this video wasn't long enough for you, put them in the comments and we'll see if we can do something. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.